at a song in a really guitar-unfriendly key. You may have noticed I just played a lot of bar chords. This is Girl, John Lennon's beautiful tune from Rubber Soul that is just this flowing, gentle melody, gentle chord progression, done with a little bit of lilt, little bit of swing in it, and then it comes into a bridge that doesn't have the swing. We kind of cut that out. So we'll talk about a couple of different strumming things, but the biggest thing we're going to talk about is a way, maybe a couple ways, to play in the key of C minor without killing yourself and wearing out your hands. And of course what John did in this was used his handy dandy capo at the 8th fret. Now, what we have, there are two guitar friendly keys, in two minor keys that are guitar friendly. And they are, of course the keys. Let's do away with the capo for a second. We'll talk about the keys of E minor. Here's what the song would sound like in E minor. Works pretty well. But that's one of our two best minor keys for the guitar. The other is, of course, the key of A minor. How would it sound in A minor? Okay, you can hear the same, hopefully you can hear the same harmony and the same chord progression. But by using the capo and using one of those keys, we could put it into the key of C minor. Now, the way John did that was using the E minor shapes, and so his brain is in E minor and its relative major, G. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. But using the capo to change E minor to C minor. If you think about the way the bars work, as you start barring up, we bar an E chord at any E shape at the 1st fret, moves it to F. 3rd fret, move it to G. 5th fret, A. 7th fret, B. 8th fret, C. So if I come to the 8th fret and put a bar there and play an E minor shape, I'm playing C minor. That's what we do with the capo in this song. We're going to put the capo, and because of the tight real estate, I recommend maybe putting your shove upside down. Let's see that we get. There we go. It gives you a little bit more room to play up here in the where the frets are really compressed. So this is what we're going to talk about: is playing the song in E minor, capoed at the 8th fret. Then we'll even talk about picking out a little bit of a tiny lead that George plays, and even a second one that shows up later, maybe played on the bouzouki. We're not quite sure, but it's got a kind of Eastern sound. Pretty cool little thing going on there too. So that's what we're going to do in this lesson, although I've pretty much just told you a lot about what you need to figure out what's going on here. We're going to be talking about playing chords in the key of E minor and its relative major, G, to strum through the progression to Girl. With the capo at the 8th fret, good time to remind you that once you put a capo on, especially this far up the neck, be sure to check the tuning, because there's a good chance the capo is clamping down on the strings probably harder than you would if you were playing there, which could easily stretch them slightly out of tune. So after you put your capo on, get the guitar in tune in the first place, but then put the capo on and check the tuning. So, we have chords in a couple of different keys here in this song, and first I want to talk about the key of G, because that's a little of what we hear, but the key of G, of course, would include a G chord played. Now with the capo at the 8th, that puts the G really up to where you've got your 3rd finger and your 4th finger up at the 11th fret. So it does take a little bit of practice getting used to playing with the up this far up the neck. But chords in the key of G, chord 1 would be A minor, chord 2 would be B minor, chord 1 would be G, chord 2 would be A minor, I don't know where that was coming from, chord 3 would be B minor, so for that we're going to bar up at the 2nd fret, chord 4 would be C, chord 5 would be D, and the Ds that we're going to use, since it's chord 5, we're going to play a dominant 7th chord, we're going to use D7. So George has two little lead parts that get brought in. The first one comes in during the third verse, and it is just hitting a single note on every beat, working its way up our E minor scale in thirds. G to E, then when it goes, and that's what happens on the E minor chord. So what we're going to do here technique-wise is try to strum on the first beat of each chord and try to stop the strum on the note that is our main melody note. Now the next melody note is always we could just play individually. Come in and hit the E. So we strum the E minor chord to get the G in there. Then we go to our B7 chord, and the melody here is from A to F sharp. We'd have to reach down here and play your fourth finger up at the 4th fret.